What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. Before we get started, as always, I want to give a big shout out to all of our supporters. Thank you to everyone who listens to the podcast and puts in the time to send us messages, give shout outs, leave positive reviews on iTunes and everywhere else. We truthfully, deeply appreciate it. It's one of those things where we obviously do it because we love the sport and we love putting out content for everybody. So the more that you guys help us by spreading the podcast or leaving the reviews or hitting the subscribe button, if you're on YouTube, hitting the bell and getting notifications when we drop in new videos, we truthfully appreciate all the support, and we can't thank you enough for everything that you do to help us keep pushing this podcast further. It's so crazy to hear all these stories from everybody that so many of you told me about how you listen to the podcast when you're doing your side gig or when you're doing some creative projects or something, late at night when you're just by yourself doing some hobbies or some side project, your side hustle. I appreciate that you guys like us enough to give us that kind of time and to try and entertain you as much as we can. I'll do my best to always try and make this podcast as awesome for you as possible. I promise you that. Now, today's podcast is definitely special. Again, it's kind of weird. We jump back and forth in the information, but before we get into that, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to all of our sponsors. Go ahead and support the podcast by supporting our sponsors. Choke Aloha. Visit chokealoha.com. Get 20% off when you use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio at checkout. You guys always hear me touting about it. If you look at any of my gis, most of them will have a Choke Aloha patch on them, or you'll always see me wearing my Choke Aloha rash guards, the rank rash guards, or even the other ones that I have that aren't even close to my belt color, but I love them anyway. You can get your own. You can get your own, and you can get it at an awesome discount. chokealoha.com, promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio. They got a ton of cool stuff, some cool accessories. They're always doing cool collabs with other companies and stuff. Go support them. It's an awesome company. They're not a big name brand. You're not going to get shafted on the price, and you're going to get the hookup when you let them know I sent you. chokealoha.com. Then check out our homies over at Jiu-Jitsu Soap Co. I'm telling you, once you start using this soap, you're not going to use anything else. It's the best. I really wish that I could take it with me every time that I travel, because it's one of those things, once I get into the shower at the hotel, I'm like, this is shitty soap compared to what I got at home. I'm telling you, you're going to dig it, and it's not expensive. You're going to get a discount when you use the promo code JJ Radio, and they got a lot of cool apparel and some cool accessories too. You'll get some dope hats if you dig it. They have it. The patches, I love the Jiu-Jitsu Soap Co patches. They're definitely different and a little bit more original. I love the samurai one. I love the alien one. Check them out. JujitsuSoapCo.com, and then check out our homies over at GiraffeChoke.com. Use the promo code JJRadio when you get $99 or more of merchandise. You get 25% off when you use that promo code. I mean, you can't beat that. Listen, you can stock up with some new hats. You can get some cool fun stuff for the holidays to give away for presents, like the Superman hat, the heel hook hat for all my leg lockers out there. Go get your own. GiraffeChoke.com, promo code JJRadio. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Instagram, Jiu-Jitsu Radio, and follow Shawn at Gorilla Boy BJJ. Follow me at Sonder Marketing. And now listen, before we get started, there is another promo code that I can dish out. It's a little bit of a spoiler alert. Diamond MMA jumped onto the podcast. This episode brings in the CEO and founder of Diamond MMA. You know you've heard him before because Joe Rogan talks about them all the time. Anybody gets hit in the nuts in MMA, most likely someone's going to be bringing up Diamond MMA into the subject in the very next line. Now, Shawn and I have talked about them before. I've never had a chance to use the product, but they've decided to come onto the podcast and support the podcast. We can't thank them enough. And now, when you go to Diamond MMA, and use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio. You can get 10% off your purchase. So get yourself a cup. If you got kids and they're going to play sports, get them rolling on this stuff. I'm going to do my own personal review in the next couple of weeks so you guys see why I thought it was a good idea to have them be a part of this podcast. Craig Diamond is an awesome guy. We've been trying to get him on the podcast for the last couple of weeks, and I was super excited when they reached out and said they wanted to be a part of the podcast and support the podcast. So thank you very much to Diamond MMA. Like I said, check out diamondmma.com. Use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio. Get yourself a cup. Get it for anybody else that's playing sports. If you don't believe me, I'm going to put it to the test anyway. And it's awesome to hear Craig talk about how the company started. And I did my best to not make this sound like some kind of infomercial. And it's difficult when you're asking the questions that, basically people want to know about the company. But when it comes to, protecting your nuts, it's kind of, I'm never going to be PC about it. I've been hitting the balls enough time to know that you're at one point or another, you're going to have to start wearing a cup if you're going to do any kind of striking sport or combat sport or even just regular sports, team sports. So without further ado, the founder and CEO of Diamond MMA, Craig Diamond.
You can't Neba?
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff.
Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Jiu-Jitsu Radio. So today we have a special guest. We tried to get him on last week, but we had some technical difficulties, and we just went off on our own. But Shawn and I have been talking about this. We're super stoked to have him on the podcast. We've actually talked about his company before several times. He is the founder and CEO of Diamond MMA, Craig Diamond. Craig, thanks for jumping on the podcast so late at night.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks.
So just to get, I know that people have heard your company's name, and most people that listen to our podcast are going to be somewhat familiar with the product. But for all the newer people, just kind of give us a background of who you are and what you do.
Okay, yeah. So, my name's Craig Diamond. I started Diamond MMA over 10 years ago now. I'm a lifelong athlete myself. Played baseball, football. I did, wrestled my senior year, played hockey, and even, martial arts growing up. And so I'd say as far as starting the company goes, probably close to when the UFC was getting back on TV, The Ultimate Fighter. I kind of loved the sport and fell in love with it again, and remember watching it in college and watching the old tapes, and just wanted to get in the space. All these guys had T-shirt brands, and there were skulls and flames and eagles and all these cheesy designs, and I wanted to just come up with something kind of cool and classic. So we designed a T-shirt, and I wanted to start my brand. Just get in the space. I thought the market was cool, and I loved the athletes, and it was the first sport that I actually loved watching and following, not just playing. So we designed a T-shirt. That kind of morphed into kind of designing fight shorts for some of the fighters after that. And while talking to a lot of the pro MMA fighters going gym to gym, they kind of said, hey, what we need is a good cup, because they're just using the same cups that are at Walmart and, stuff you use for Little League Baseball. And what we found was they were layering up their existing cups with several layers just to try to keep it in place for the dynamic movement of, mixed martial arts and grappling and jiu-jitsu. So we kind of stopped the T-shirts and stopped the shorts, and I recruited a couple teams, a team of a couple talented designers that are my partners now. And we just kind of Frankenstein together the world's greatest groin protection system specifically geared towards these athletes. Um,
So let me just ask then, did you think anywhere remotely in your mind that when you first started the company or even before that somehow it was going to just evolve into just dealing with cups?
no, never. I was passionate about the sport. I was passionate about these athletes, and I just wanted to start. I was passionate about business and starting a business, and I wanted to do something just from scratch. So cups weren't, the business evolved to solve a big problem, which was really these guys, especially in the earlier days, would be fighting in the UFC, and they'd kick each other in the nuts, and a guy would go down, and they'd be on the ground for 2 minutes, and it would stop the action. So as a fan, I'm saying, how can we solve this problem? And so that's the business kind of morphed into what the fighters needed, and now we're trying to solve this problem, and we. Gosh, I think the card just now in Florida, I think almost 80% of the fighters were wearing our cups. So that,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and you don't see it because the UFC actually, it's kind of cool. Not cool for us, but they take a Sharpie and they color out our diamond waistband. So our pattern, we have a diamond pattern of our waistband, but because of the Reebok deal, they can't have
Yeah.
other brands. But all of the fighters choose to wear our cup, and they swear by it. So you'll see sometimes Kron Gracie and just a bunch of other guys. You could see their waistbands kind of sticking out with a little bit of a Sharpie color to them.
Yeah, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. And I mean, just from the work that I've done before, even before the weigh-ins, anytime that you guys see a UFC fighter about to be in front of the crowd, in front of a camera, there is basically a handler that goes fighter to fighter and double check head to toe that they're wearing everything Reebok. So it's funny that you mentioned that because I've seen them do that where they're like, here, take the Sharpie, you have to cover this. There's been times where fighters have to walk out with a piece of tape on TV or something, with a piece of tape over their clothing, over their brand or anything like that. So it's kind of funny that it's like now people see, okay, well, that Sharpie, now I know why that Sharpie is there.
Craig, I might have a workaround for you.
Let's hear it.
What if you made that diamond, the diamond pattern? What if you made it that like rubberish? So like you say, it's so it'll stick to the shorts, but if it's that black rubber, it might stick out a little bit as like it will be that shiny diamond. Maybe not.
No, you know what? I know where you're going with that, and we've thought about stuff like that. We've thought about reflective diamonds. So, and you know what? At the end of the day, they can take a Sharpie to us, but we are the chosen protection for these guys. And that's just what it is. I mean, we've talked to the UFC behind the scenes. Eventually, we'll maybe work something out with them to get them a version of our product that goes along with their guidelines. But you know what? It's kind of cool. Like, we're the last brand standing, pretty much. When I started this, we launched at UFC 100. So, if anybody was around back in the day when there was 20 different clothing brands, I mean, you had, of course, Tap Out, you had Silver Star, you had, Hitman, Clinch Gear, Sprawl. I mean, all these brands.
The Throne.
Dethrone. I mean, they go on and on. And the business model didn't work. They were paying athletes to wear their stuff, just like I had to do for the real short time we were making T-shirts. You had to pay these guys to wear your T-shirt and then hope a lot of people would buy that T-shirt. I kind of changed that model once the fighters were saying, hey, this is what we need. I said, let's invest the research and development to designing a product that these guys will buy from us. And it'll last and be good for other guys, guys that are just training jiu-jitsu and you playing other sports even with it. So,
I mean, the funny part is, in hindsight, as a businessman, it's kind of like you found the perfect niche, because there's so many companies under the sun that want to get into the apparel aspect of it, and that's how you started off. But then everybody tries to go into the smaller things. They're gonna want their own wrap tape or their own gloves or their own shin guards, and it's kind of like it's a
Yeah.
dime a dozen. But like you said, there wasn't anybody that was really taking the initiative, and it's kind of, I think it's one of those things that was just kind of like, you know what, that's the way it's always been, and that's the way we'll always do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we get all the time, hey, you guys make the best cups. Why don't you make mouth guards? Why don't you make, this or make that and redesign, make the world's best rash guard. And, we want to focus on one thing right now is just making the best groin protection. And we have other products, that are in that, we have a compression brief. It's basically a compression short with a built-in underwear. So for jiu-jitsu guys that just don't wear cups, this is a great product for them. I mean, so we want to just stay focused in our niche. And, when we're ready to take on another product, we'll only take it on if there can be real improvement to be made. And if it's really going to solve a problem. But, to just design a real cool t-shirt and then, it's not something that we want to do. We want to help these fighters fight better.
So
I have a question, Craig. So I've seen there was a video. I think somebody went to a karate tournament and had a bunch of people kicking each other, or people just kicking somebody in the nuts. When you see somebody that's wearing your cup and they get kicked in the nuts, and then they take 3 to 5 minutes, is part of you going, "Come on, man, that didn't hurt"?
Yeah, I mean. Look, with the cup, you're going to feel some pressure and a little shock, but we want to avoid injury. That's the key. So if you're in a full, if Dustin Poirier is in a fight and he gets kicked full clip in the cup like he has, and we've got a video of it, he may still feel it, but he's going to be able to continue fighting. And the idea is keeping all the family jewels inside the protective cup. If that cup is flopping around and it's loose, or in a pair of compression shorts with that big general pocket, and that cup's floating and one of your nuts is hanging out of that's when, testicle ruptures occur. That's when injuries occur. So if you're wearing our products and it's sized right and you're wearing it right, you should be able to take a shot. And if you go to our website, that's me, taking those shots from dozens of UFC fighters and testing it out. I mean, so
that's what I was going to ask you about. So when you first started making the product and you started, okay, well, this is how we're going to change it. We're going to try this instead. What was the feeling like that first day? It's like, all right, well, we got to actually test it now. Who's going to take the hit on this one?
That's the answer is me. I mean, this is my business. I started this thing out of my garage. I've put all my money and savings into this business, and had kids and would work this business from 9 o'clock at night till 2 a.m, and work a day job. So I mean, I had everything into the investment to make a product to solve this problem for these guys. So when that first prototype came to my door, and it was just like a one color gray, it was just a working prototype. It didn't look fancy. I went to Jeff Corin's gym in Crystal Lake. If you know Jeff Corin, a UFC vet, and he's a Pedro Sauer black belt, I believe. I went to his gym and I put it on, and I had one of his pros kick me. I said, "Here we go." He says, "Are you sure, man?" I said, "I got to test this thing." And I got to go for it. And he kicked me hard. I mean, I remember it hard, and it made a loud noise. And all the guys looked at me like, "Are you okay?" And I was, and I was perfect. I was okay. And that was a big day, because again, when you're making a product, it takes months and months, not only to develop the product and design it, but just to get prototypes shipped to you and tested and then send them back. And that was a great time. And then of course, Joe Rogan saw some of my videos on Twitter when Twitter was more popular, and he messaged us and he kind of understood what we were trying to do. And he sent me a direct message, and Joe said, hey, I see what you're trying to do. And if it works as well as it looks like, I'm going to help, I'd like to help spread the word and get all these UFC guys on it. So I remember I overnighted him, the system. I think it was like $95. I remember at the time it was so expensive, but it was Joe Rogan. And then he got it, and I didn't hear anything back for weeks. And I'm thinking like, oh man, he didn't like it. Maybe it didn't fit him. Maybe he didn't get it. And then sure enough, on a podcast, a UFC event, several weeks later, there was a shot, there was a kick and a low blow, and the guy went down, and Joe went into pretty much a full-blown Diamond MMA commercial and said, there's a company out there, and they make this really cool product with an integrated jock strap, and it doesn't shit. And for about 2 minutes, he talked about us during the groin shot timeout. And this is before the Reebok days and anything else. And it crashed our website, and we got flooded with orders from all over the world. And
how's that feeling when you started seeing the
it was amazing. And I remember I was out to dinner with my family, and a friend of mine called and said, Joe Rogan's talking about your product and your website's down. Holy shit, or whatever he said. You know what I mean? It was like, and I got up and yeah, it was great. And obviously the power of Joe Rogan was huge, but on a live broadcast, a fight, that was amazing. And we've been trying to kind of catch up ever since. I mean, we've been growing slow but steady, and just doing our thing, and just customer service and getting product to fighters. We take pride. We don't sponsor fighters, but if a guy's cool and he's going to post for us and help us, get our brand out there, we'll send some nice care packages to fighters, and just continuing to do our thing.
So let me ask you, again, because it's such a niche item, but it's, especially if you're talking about fighters like Muay Thai fighters, the whole idea of the Thai steel cup, it's so engraved there. They never change things up. Is it something that you feel like you have to fight to change the mentality? It's like, guys, like there is
great question. Our product is based off the Thai cup. So I kind of left that out, and thanks for bringing that up. Well, the shorter answer is that some guys, the older school guys, they're stubborn. They won't change. Mighty Mouse Johnson, Demetrius Johnson, I've reached out to him several times. He says, nope, sticking with it. And that's fine. And I get it. I'm a guy, and I train myself. I'm, and I still play sports, and I love my equipment. And some stuff I like to keep it till it's forever. But the Muay Thai cup is really that strap, that shoelace, I should say, that's connected to the bottom of that Thai cup that goes up your crack, and the rear, and has to be tied to your hip or whatever. That's for most of the guys. When we were visited AKA in San Jose, and this is back Mike Wick, DC was just starting out. Nate Moore, Josh Thompson, John Fitch, all those guys. It was just a Kane. And so we were talking to all those guys, and half of these guys were wearing the Thai cup. So they were just saying about it's hard to put on and it's uncomfortable, but they believe in it. So our first design was even very similar to that, and then we kind of just branched it out. Instead of having that one strap coming from the bottom of the cup or a shoelace, we broke it into two straps. And then we changed it from a shoelace to some really good elastic that's going to just be able to put on and off. And so the Thai cup was a big inspiration for our design, even the shape of the cup. One thing about the Thai cup that is good about it is it's got good depth and good volume. So everything's going to go inside. It's a little wide for grappling and mixed martial arts, but you're going to have all your Franken beans are going to fit inside.
That's one thing though that like a lot of people don't know, especially let's say for just jiu-jitsu guys, and a lot of people even that watch the sports don't realize when Thai guys, when you're talking about a Thai steel cup, it is literally a steel cup that's basically has a string that goes over the top, and that would obviously be
Right,
closer
ties
to
around
like your
the
belly
waist.
button,
Yep.
and one that's under, and it goes right up your butt crack. So it's a male thong. And then that part's not even the challenging part. Is when you first get it, you have to sit there and learn how to tie the knot, because you're not going to ask one of your teammates, hey, can you tie this knot on my butt crack real quick? So there's like all sorts of stuff that you got to deal with. And don't forget, let's hope that people even do the maintenance afterwards, because you're going to have to like actually do the maintenance. So that's a whole different hassle to begin with. Like that's one thing that people don't even realize that you have to deal with when it comes to the
I mean,
cups.
we went to a tournament for 3 days in Des Moines, Iowa, and 4 days rather. It was a Muay Thai tournament. And we were converting them, and we had guys dumping their old Thai cups in a trash can and videotaping it for a little bit of a discount just to make the point. So I think, the younger, and it was amazing that these little kids, I mean, there were 6-year-old girls and boys training. I mean, they were seriously training. And so those kids, they're not wearing Thai cups. You know what I mean? They're wearing our products. They're wearing some of the competitors' brands, which once they try ours, they kind of won't go back to. So we're going to get those young kids in Diamond MMA brand, and they'll get used to it, and then they'll stick with us throughout their career, hopefully.
Yeah. Trust me, just from rolling with Shawn, I can tell you there's more than 20 or 30 times that I wish I would have had a cup on.
This cup, I mean, Jiu-Jitsu doesn't allow it in some of their tournaments, but I train myself. And because of the 2 rear straps, which is really our secret sauce, those rear straps are almost like suspenders for your cup. They're going to pull that cup against your body, so it's not moving and shifting. So if you've got someone in your guard, that cup's not all over the place to when they're trying to pass your guard and then their knee is, right into your groin. I mean, that cup's going to be locked down, especially in that position, because the rear straps are going to cause tension. So, I mean, it's a great cup for jiu-jitsu if you want to wear a cup for jiu-jitsu, but most are uncomfortable.
Yeah, but it's funny because, I mean, Shawn and I have done striking. I mean, I've competed before. Shawn does a little bit of striking. So it's one of those things that, like, I always have a cup in my bag regardless. But even for jiu-jitsu, I mean, a lot of the older guys that I know and that I've trained with, they pretty much have to wear one. They have to wear one, especially because when they end up, the older guys are usually the ones that get stuck with the white belts, and those are the ones that end up getting railed in the nuts one time or another.
Yeah, if you got a spazzy white belt, and it's not his fault, he's just trying to do what he's doing. It can injure you, and a ruptured testicle is bad news. I mean, I won't even get into it, but you think you don't need one till you need one, and then you wish you had one. But one thing about us is if you buy a cup or system from us, or a jock strap version that we have, or even just our compression brief to keep you refuse to wear a cup, but you just want something to just compact everything and keep it in place to minimize any chance. If it's not the best thing you've worn, send it back and we'll give you your money back, even after you've trained it in a little while. So, that's just kind of the company we are. And, there is a reason it costs more than the average cup on the market, but it's geared towards combat sports, towards jiu-jitsu, grappling, and striking. And it's been a fun learning experience for me. Look, I started this business not knowing a lot about starting a business or product design, but I've been learning, and it's just I continue to learn, and I love talking to you guys and getting ideas from you guys, and I just love talking to my customers every day. It's awesome.
So do you see a lot of people trying to attempt and copy the mold now, or try and get into it and trying to take your style?
Not so much. The bigger brands that you'll see at the Walmart or the big box stores, they just don't care. They don't really care about the market. It's just whatever's on the shelf. Their mom's going to buy. The mom's going to buy for their kid for $29.95, and it's just a small product. They're not really concentrating on it, and it's a little market niche it's important to us guys, and eventually when they lose enough customers to us, maybe they will. But we're just doing what we do and focusing in on our niche. we want to, like you talked about, we don't want to make gloves and shin guards and rash. We want to just do what we do. So when people know our brand, they know what it stands for.
Yeah. You know, what's funny is that this is one of those things that I don't know, you and I talked about it, Shawn. It's just one of those things that when it comes to the nut shots, it's a guy thing where everyone has that story of like their worst nut shot or things that they've seen. And I remember this was years ago. I found a mini documentary about I want to say it was a cricket player. And if you look this up, I'll try and find it for you and send it to you. But basically, cup technology didn't exist way back in the day at that time. I want to say it was like 60s or 70s. Guy took a pitch square in the junk, and they just had basic thin pieces of plastic. And they literally interviewed not only the guy that got hit, but the entire team because of how traumatic this whole experience was. When he got hit in his cup, it shattered. They had to carry him off and literally do surgery to remove it piece by piece.
Oh my gosh.
And it's funny, but it's not, because you could tell like how damaged this guy was. But when they interview the rest of the team, they're just dying laughing. All of them are cracking up because of how much pain he was from taking a shot in the nuts. But yeah, I've seen it so many times. So that's why it's like when we started talking about having on, I'm like, oh, please, let's get you on here. Because this is something that, I mean, Diamond MMA Cups we talked about, Shawn, like how many fights that we see at XFN that the guy should have been carrying them.
Well, what about how many? I think I own the record of getting hit in the nuts during grappling class. I mean, it's one of those things, but it's every man sees it, and every man does the same exact thing when they see a nut shot. They squeeze their knees together and they go, oh, because we all know what it feels like.
Well, it doesn't have to happen. We need to eradicate that feeling and that reaction. And I want to send both of you guys, for having me on. I'm going to send you some product to try and test for yourselves. So after we get off, just we'll hook up and give me your addresses. Yeah. I want to send you a pair for yourself to try, and then maybe you'll have me on again, and we'll get your results. And I'd love you guys to try it in class, and
yeah, I'm willing to take a shot. I'll take a shot on video and throw it up there.
Thank you. Yeah, we have the Diamond Cup Check Challenge. So
a
lot of pro fighters and a lot of our customers will take a video themselves putting it to the test and either getting kicked or we've had all sorts of fun videos. So yeah, I'd appreciate that. We'll send you some good stuff. And the lessons, I guess a couple lessons are, to recap our conversation. One, if you're going into business and you're going to start a business, do it in something that you love and that you're passionate about, that you just would do for free. And I was passionate about the sport and the space and the business of the sport. So I just jumped in and I figured it out. That's one thing. The other thing is as far as business, find partners that will share your common passions and interests. So my two partners that helped me design this have been huge. One of them wrestled at Purdue and is the grappling and wrestling coach at El Nino with Gil Melendez and Jake Shields and all those guys, a guy named Alex Coriano. All my partners, we all train, we all love the sport, and we love designing products. And so it's been fun. That's one big thing. And two, for training, I'm 40 years old now, and I've been playing, sports and training competitively, and, don't skimp on your equipment, especially when it comes to, protecting your family jewels or your teeth or your brain. If you're going to compete, even, recreationally, invest in something that's going to last and going to protect you and keep your mind in the game and what you're doing, and not worrying about a piece of dangerous plastic between your legs that's moving around.
So let me ask you, do you have that first story of, you gave somebody a cup, like a pro fighter, you gave them one of the cups to put on during a fight, they took a nut shot and they just came back to you like, listen, that that was probably one of the worst nut shots I ever took, and you guys just saved my life on that one.
Yeah, Dustin Poirier took a shot real hard, waved the ref off. He didn't need a timeout. We had, I think, Ricardo Lamas took a real hard shot one time, waved it off. Eric Koch from Rufus Sport. I mean, a lot of guys have. I mean, the problem is we can't post it on our Instagram because they suspended us for 4 or 5 days when we did the other day. You can't put it in UFC videos, but yeah, we've been. I mean, Anthony Pettis has been a longtime supporter and wearing our cup. He's taken kicks and just you hear the pop and he waves it off. So. And that's great. That's what we started this business for, was to solve the problem, to keep these athletes protected and going, and keep the action going.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it's crazy to see. It's one of those things that you never think about, but it happens, especially it happens to us. But I'm also a big fan of hearing people, jumping into the business side of MMA and jiu-jitsu and kind of following their passion and building a business out of it. So it's really cool for you to come over here and share the story, and hopefully we'll get you on again and share some more stories. I know you got to get going. You got family duties to take care of.
I do, but I love talking to you guys. You guys get it and you're cool. It's nice to talk to guys that actually train and understand it. And like I said, I'm going to get you guys some product to test out. I'll come on again and we'll do maybe a follow-up recap, and maybe I'll bring a guest on with me. I do have some UFC fighters that maybe we could bring on with me and talk about their experiences with our cup in the cage. I have a bunch of guys that would love to come on.
Definitely.
Cool.
No, listen, anytime you want to come on, you always have an open door for us. And we also have a link for anybody that wants to pick up a cup and they don't want to wait for us and you want to get one. We have a promo code that you can use, Jiu-Jitsu Radio, at checkout, and you'll get a discount. Thanks so much for Craig and Diamond MMA for setting that up. So definitely go check it out if you guys are looking for it. For all of our friends that are actually fighters and stuff that need some better protection on the cojones. I definitely appreciate the hookup on that one. So hopefully we can get a couple of our guys taken care of. But Craig, thank you very much for jumping on.
Thanks.
We'll just stick on the line. We're going to cut the line for a little bit, and we'll catch you next time.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Craig.
Bye.
Says recording in process.
There we go. Recording. There you go. How cool is that?
No, I look, when it comes to the boys, I've been so used to getting nut shots over the last, 10, 12 years. It's like my nuts are almost conditioned, but it would be nice for them not to have to worry about, that. Yeah. Like, and look, what's worse than that? What's worse than the shots to the nuts are the squishes.
Yeah, or with like the grind when someone's doing like a knee pass. Yeah,
no, and what sucks is we can't wear them in most grappling tournaments. They don't allow them.
Yeah,
but it would be it'd be cool. I'm wondering if they're like I'd like to talk to them about maybe there's like not a hard rubber, but like a rubber that
liner?
Well, no, like instead of it being plastic, like they make a rubber one that's a rubber mold that like will protect it kind of, but would like squish down like on an arm bar, because that's where the problem is on like arm bars. It gives you an extra fulcrum point.
The arm bars, but if you also have somebody's back, like you can definitely jam them in the back with it. It's kind of like tough, but because if you made it out of rubber, like then it's not really going to give you the impact. You're going to end up squeezing it anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, it's weird. It's one of those things. It's kind of like you're going to have to deal with it. And like, yeah, I'm the same way. Like it's gotten to the point now when I take a nut shot that I can just kind of be like, give me like 10 seconds and I can walk it off. That's the worst part. Like, I don't feel good about that. Like for sure my kid's coming out cross-eyed.
Well, and I've just taken to the fact that I'm never going to have kids. And the nut shots are part of that. I think, it's just like one of those things that it's just like, it's done.
No, but it's funny, like just to hear like that, the part that I thought was the coolest, because they reached out to me to jump on the podcast and I was like, man, we talk about you guys a lot. And it's funny because, when you hear them talking about it on Joe Rogan and stuff like that, it's kind of like, okay, let's see what it's actually about, you know? So it's kind of cool to hear that someone just kind of took the plunge and had to do the same thing of
What
like,
what I want to know is who's the weirdo that goes, you know what? You guys make great nut protection. I want you to protect my mouth now. Like
yeah, right?
who goes from nuts to mouth?
Or
Like
it's even better. It's like, okay, so this is working on a nut. How can we transfer this to somebody's mouth? Like, it's like, dude, what did you just
yeah.
say? Like,
But you know what I would think, like, because there was something else that Rogan has been talking about for years, and most people who watch MMA have been talking about for years, are gloves.
oh, the
And
gloves with the finger.
with the finger post, like there's got to be a way.
It's the Pride gloves. The Pride gloves did that. They automatically curved your hand down.
Well,
That's the thing. It's like you want to have gloves that end up curving your hand down that keeps you from opening up the hand. But it's one of those things where, like, I think partially is the glove, and the other part really comes down to like the MMA fighters are used to grabbing onto someone because of wrestling. So it's just natural reaction of when someone's coming at you where you're kind of like pawing away. Unless you're John Jones and you're doing it on purpose.
do you really think he was doing it? He does it on purpose?
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, do you think it's coincidence that every single Winklejohn guy pokes somebody in the eye?
Well, I think it's their technique. I don't think it's all on purpose. I just think it's part of that defensive technique, you know, where you put, you know, like a more of a karate technique to put that hand out.
Well, it's a
But
shield. What it's supposed to do, it's like boxers do it a lot too. Like you're putting it up there to cover the line of sight so then you can counter out. But even when someone's coming at you, if you have your hand up, then they're not going to be able to aim as precisely. So that's kind of really where it comes from. But even then, it's like, if you know that you have a 5-foot reach over everybody else and your name's John Jones, you know that you're just poking somebody's eye out.
yeah, well, and he's always it's happened to so many people. It happens to at least everybody he fights.
Yeah.
But I don't think he does it on purpose. I just think it's part of the way their system works over there, that they put it out there and it's bound to happen.
Yeah, I mean, at some point or another,
I
like
think he
you are
doesn't
going to
do it on purpose. You know, he may, but I'd like to think he doesn't.
No, for sure he does. Without a doubt in my mind, he does. It's just the way that it is. Like, I mean, you can't just sit there and have your hands up on somebody and not expect it to go in somebody's eye. It's just the way it is, especially when you get warned so many times. I mean, it happens almost every fight where he gets warned.
Yeah, put the fingers.
Speaking of eyes, do you see what's going on now after ADCC?
Yeah, the conjunctivitis.
Yeah, that's going around.
But like a conjunctivitis on steroids.
Yeah, literally. No, it's getting everybody. So for people that don't know, Keenan Cornelius and had to drop out of ADCC. Josh Hinger almost did, and a couple of other guys from Danaher had to almost drop out of ADCC due to conjunctivitis. Basically, they all got pink eye, and a couple of the guys that had it ended up still going and competing. They said that they didn't, and a bunch of the competitors ended up getting it. Cyborg got it. JT Torres got it. Muhammad Ali got it. Who else? Let me see. I know I took some screenshots, and there's a bunch of other people. And it's funny because Cyborg is saying that he told the refs that Craig still had it, and they just looked at him and just said, "Nah, whatever." Yeah, no, a bunch of people got it, and it's super contagious. And the funny part is, after I saw that photo, I'm like, "Oh shit! Did I shake any of everybody's hands?" Okay, no, I shook their hands before the matches, not after. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, but you still might have shaken somebody's hand that that had it.
But no, that's the saying. Like, I only shook people's hand before they competed, before they even went on the mat. So before they got in contact with the person that did have it.
Yeah, but how do you know you didn't shake somebody's hand that already had it?
Because otherwise I would have had it too. If it goes along with that timeline, I was there with them at the same amount of time, so I would have started having it too. So for now, I'm good to go. I'm in the clear, but it's pretty crazy, and it's funny because then it became a little bit of an online spat, and then Seth Daniels from Fight to Win and ADCC said we're gonna do better at. What's he say? Here we go. I have it. Moving forward, Fight to Win and ADCC will be more diligent about doing eye and skin checks at weigh-ins. Fighters are also responsible to not bring contagious, visible, or not visible shit with them to the event. Which is true. I mean, it's kind of one of those, like, if you know you got it, don't come in, man.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. But who's like, honestly, how many people like ADCC is one of the most prestigious, grappling events, ever. The year. So it's like it's hard to say, I'm going to pull
did.
out. Well, I know Keenan did, but I'm saying there's a lot of people that just wouldn't do it.
For sure, Craig, and maybe Gordon had it, because when I saw Gordon and I kept on seeing him on TV, I was like, man, that left eye looks a little puffy, but I couldn't tell if maybe he took a shot and then like to the face or something. But for sure, Craig had something, because his face was definitely a little puffy on that left side. So it's kind of funny, but it's one of those things, man. And we push it all the time. I mean, I even had the one doctor about using soap come on here, just talking about using soap. Like, you guys got to take care of your shit, man. It's so gross. What would you do if you ended up having someone like come in and roll, and then you found out after, it's like, oh yeah, I think I have pink eye?
Well, we just had kind of a little outbreak at Temple. That it wasn't pink eye, and it wasn't staph, it was something else. But what happened was somebody went to Puerto Rico and came back with it, and
so you shouldn't have said that to people.
well, no, it's already went through and gone, and the people that had it have already gotten it all taken care of. But like, and it's like he didn't know he had it. It was like a little mark, but he didn't know that's what it was. And
it wasn't ringworm.
No, it wasn't ringworm. It was something different, but
what
it wasn't. I don't even know, man. I didn't see it. All of a sudden, I had people not showing up. I'm like, where is everybody? And they said, well, this is we're on medication because we all got this. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I'd be so pissed.
And only the people who rolled with each other got it. Nobody else got that. So,
if it was me, I would make that person pay for my medical bill.
Nah, man, it happens. He didn't know he had it. He came back from Puerto Rico and he had it. So it was like
saying like, sorry, I didn't know I had gonorrhea. Like, no, bro, you have gonorrhea.
Not really. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Maybe you might know you have gonorrhea, but you don't know if you have a skin condition sometimes. Sometimes, you're like, oh, I got popped in the nose, or I got popped, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't know what
eczema.
Yeah, like it could be, sometimes people just get dry skin. So, it's I get it, and it's like, I know it happens, and so I don't but I know we keep a clean gym, so I know it wasn't it, and everybody knows it didn't come from the gym. It came from somebody picking something up on, they had no idea. So I don't blame them at all.
I mean, yeah, it happens, but you still have to like be diligent about just your own hygiene and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you watch any of the ONE FC 100 this weekend?
No, not at all.
Man,
I watched the UFC, but I didn't watch any of the one.
I was actually doing a photo shoot with Gilbert for Tatami, and like in the middle of the photo shoot, we stopped just to watch Ong La Sang fight. It was so funny. Like, we're sitting there on top of a parking garage just screaming. It was hilarious. But man, there was some good fights. You definitely got to watch that. You definitely got to go back and watch those fights.
I don't know where do you even watch one?
I believe it's on. Oh man, not Fight TV. Jeez, I have it on the top of my head too, because I know the person that does the marketing for it. They handle a lot of the bare knuckle boxing stuff as well. Fucking A. You can find it online though. All you got to do is look up the links and stuff. You can find it online pretty pretty quick.
Yeah, you know what I've been doing? I've been watching so much Flow grappling because I was getting ready for the tournament. So I liked watching the grappling kind of gets you in the mood, you know?
Well, speaking of which, yeah, for people that don't know, Shawn won his division at Miami Open this past week, and congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
How
Oh,
many matches
geez.
did you have?
I had two matches. One against the guy that I lost to in the Worlds in 2016, Charlot. And
How'd you win that one?
say we had the same exact situation happen.
Yeah.
It was points, and we were at it was tied up because we got like we each got 2 or 3 stalling penalties because it was a stand up match.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, we were going to the decision, and of course, I was like, "Oh man, here we go again." But where last time he got the win, this time I got the win.
So now you guys got to set up the rubber match.
Yeah, that's where we're at. We're 1-1 now, and we talked about it. I go, we got to get to do this again, and if I did it again, I would if we ever compete again, what I'll do next time is I'll actually pull guard or something just to get it down on the ground. This is 2 matches of us standing up is just a little too much, and I don't want it to be that.
Trivial.
Yeah, if I lose because I pulled guard and wanted to make this a jiu-jitsu match instead of just 2 big bears pushing each other around a mat,
Yeah.
that's what I think I'll do. And then my second match, I tapped a guy out. His name's Jason, really nice guy, from Coral Springs. Yeah, man, it's good to be, my last 2 tournaments back in the saddle. It feels good to win.
No, man, congratulations.
But it's like what happened with the week before. I don't know if I told you, but
Yeah, your back.
No, my chest.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
And then in the first match with Charlot, we were pushing each other around, and he went to shuck me, and I stepped forward real hard, and I jacked up my hamstring. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Really?
Yeah, it's almost better now. I think tomorrow it should be fine. But I've been gimping around ever since Friday. Ever since Saturday.
Well, either way, you got the win, so that's all that matters. So we actually picked the fights last week, so we got to go over it. Even though the episode didn't go out, we got to review the fights that we put out last week. Let me see. Where are the results? Here we go. All right, so Eric Anders against Gerald Demirskart, whatever. We both picked Eric Anders. We both got that one right. So that one's that's a 1-1 for us here. And then Matt Frivola against Luis Pena. I picked Matt Frivola. You picked Luis Pena, and Frivola won that one.
Yeah, that was the one I had no idea.
Yeah. It was a crazy fight. He had actually.
It was a good fight.
Man, he definitely got rocked. Matt Frivola got rocked a little bit there. Mackenzie Dern.
I actually thought Pena won that one, to tell you the truth.
I don't disagree that it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas. You picked Mackenzie Dern. I picked Amanda. Amanda won that one.
Yeah, she was a ball of energy for that fight.
Yeah, well, that ball of energy got me another W. And then Cub Swanson against Kron Gracie. We both picked Cub on that one, and rightfully so.
But holy shit, did Kron make that fight?
Yeah, exciting.
Exciting to watch. If I were to give Kron Gracie a nickname, it would be the Brazilian Zombie. He just kept coming forward.
He's fresh though. I mean, his chin hasn't gotten as much damage as most other people, because anybody else with some wear and tear on their face and they take that shot from Cub Swanson, they're going out. For sure, they're going out. And then Joanna against Michelle Watterson. I picked Joanna. You picked Michelle. And Joanna won that one.
Yeah, she put on a clinic, dude.
And a busted foot, too. Did you see her foot?
Yeah, it was nice and big and
swollen and busted.
yeah.
That thing was like probably the size of my foot, to be honest. And she's like half my size. So I think I won the
Yeah, for sure.
I
knew when Joanna. Well, I know because, and at one point when Watterson had Joanna's back, I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
But Joanna fought it off.
Just listen, she's I'm curious to see how she's gonna handle the next couple of fights. If they're gonna give her the championship fight next or what. So it should be pretty exciting to see. Did you hear about Cole Miller?
Yeah, getting ready to do an open weight tournament or one night tournament. Holy shit!
In Bahrain. But did you see who's on that list?
I saw Gilbert Yvel, Alexander Emelianenko.
You got Guto Inocencio.
Yeah, Guto was the first name on the list.
Yeah, and it's like, man, I like Cole, man, but Guto is a total animal right now. If you see his photos, man, he is on all the acai. For sure, he's on all the acai. Yeah, he's on all the acai. For sure.
Well, Guto was a big kid, man.
He's been a beast, man. But he always trained hard. He was always huge. So now that he's even more just jacked and like for a guy his size, his cardio is insane. And he's a kickboxer. He's a legit kickboxer. Josh Copeland, Yasube Inomoto. It's I'm gonna have to figure out how we can watch this because that looks like it's gonna be a pretty dope open weight Grand Prix. It's on Brave. That's what it is. Brave 29. It's pretty nutty, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, Cole, what are you thinking?
He wants to fight. He wants to fight, man. I mean, he hasn't fought in a while, but hey, listen, I'm sure that they're offering some good money. I'm sure they're offering some good money for it.
Yeah, but think about it. Gilbert Yvel, Guto, they're all big people.
They're big dudes. And they got probably...
And he's 145 pounds.
Yeah. No.
Well, actually, he probably isn't. He's probably like 170 or something like that.
Yeah, but they're like walking around at 230. Like Guto for sure is walking around at 220, 230. He's just a huge, huge man. I think it will call it up for tonight, man. I think next week we're going to be back into the studio and get things moving all over again. But I wanted to give a quick shout out once again to Craig Diamond and Diamond MMA. Thank you very much for joining the podcast, for taking the time out. It was actually I know that it may sound like a little bit like an infomercial kind of thing, but we were actually really interested in hearing what he had to say. They reached out to us and wanted to talk to us. And, I've heard so much about them from listening to just Joe Rogan. And I've never actually got a chance to see the Cups in person myself, but obviously we've seen them do work. So it's really cool just to hear just kind of like how the company got started and hear it from the man that literally started it. So it's should be cool to check out and test out the product. So we're definitely going to do the nut test challenge. Are you up for it?
Nope.
You're not going to take a shot to the beanbag with that?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it feels. I have to see how the cup feels before I say, all right, kick me in the nuts.
Right. So, I mean, are you going to just go for the extra large just in case, so you know you're in there?
Well, the cup is only one size fits all.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
He said so himself. It's not.
No. The system is different sizes, but the cup itself is one size.
Man, you know what's funny is that when I first started playing sports as a kid, and there was where you actually had to wear a cup, I remember going and purchasing a cup and then having no fucking clue how to put it on. Like, I just remember like, wait a minute, my junk isn't going to fit in here. Like, it's just not. I'm like, and then moving around, like, man, if something happens, I'm still going to get hurt. Like, this isn't going to protect me at all. Like, I even sat there and just kind of gave myself a quick, punch to the balls or whatever with it on. And I was like, no. We're not doing this. Screw that. And I just got rid of it. I just played without it. Because at that point, I might as well just go like without it if it's still going to hurt me that bad. So I'm curious to see how
they're
this
uncomfortable.
I mean,
that's the whole thing with cups. They've always been uncomfortable.
I've always been okay with like the tie cup. I mean, it does take some time to get used to having that line up your butt crack. But like I said, for me, it wasn't even the line that bothered me as much as like, man, this is super unhygienic. This is for sure just like, because it doesn't matter how many times you shower before you put that on, you're still going to get ass stank on that. So like you got to wash that every time. Like, oh man. So it's like, God forbid that you put that like, and it's a little piece of fabric. It's not like you're putting rope unless you're like diehard, like tie, it's just like a fabric rope. It's not a rope. So I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm curious to see, but I'm definitely down to take that shot challenge just to put it out there and check it out. But as always, thank you so much to all of our sponsors supporting the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the podcast. We got a couple of episodes that are going to come out all at once. We're a little bit back catalog, but we're putting everything out this week. So that one's on me. Just I've been sick, and it's been a long couple of weeks trying to catch back up after ADCC. So we'll get everything out there. Shawn, you got anything else for the people?
Nope, not a thing.
All right, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.
You can't
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff.
Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!